Marcus Hayes pulled into the lot of Elite Autos, the premier luxury dealership he had recently taken ownership of, nestled in the heart of bustling Tucson, Arizona. The desert sun beat down mercilessly, making the polished surfaces of the high-end cars outside gleam like molten metal. Choosing a discreet spot at the back, Marcus parked his humble Honda CR-V, stepping out into the shimmering heat. Today, he dressed to blend in, a black Under Armour hoodie, worn Wrangler jeans, and well-used New Balance sneakers. It was intentional. He wanted a raw, unfiltered look at how his new business treated those they didn't recognize. Inside, the dealership buzzed with casual chatter among the staff near the front desk. Through the glass doors, Marcus could hear the low hum of laughter. He entered quietly, the blast of cool air washing over him, carrying the scent of leather and fresh polish. Gleaming rows of Audis, Lexuses, and Jaguars stretched out before him under bright showroom lights. The moment he crossed the threshold, conversations dipped into awkward silences. Glances flicked his way, quick, assessing, and dismissive. Marcus noted the subtle tension but said nothing, taking in the scene. Then she spotted him, Linda Parker. Sharp-eyed and sharply dressed in a Ralph Lauren blazer and Jimmy Choo heels, she approached like a general surveying an intruder. A tablet tucked under her arm, she wore a professional smile stretched thin over clear skepticism. "Excuse me," Linda said crisply, blocking his path. "Can I help you with something?" Marcus responded with a relaxed smile. "Just looking around," he said, nodding toward the lineup of cars. Linda's gaze swept over him, head to toe. The assessment was quick and damning. "Are you here to buy a car?" she asked, her voice edged with disbelief. Marcus nodded, still pleasant. "Thinking about it?" Linda's smile tightened. "Well, most of our vehicles require pre-approval. You may want to consider a dealership that's a little more flexible." Before Marcus could reply, another employee called Linda away briefly. She glanced over her shoulder as if worried he might cause trouble. While she was distracted, when she returned, Marcus stood calmly, examining a black Jaguar F-Type SVR. "You're assuming I'm not qualified?" he asked casually, without anger. Linda hesitated just a fraction before recovering. "I'm just trying to be efficient," she said, her tone dismissive. "These vehicles start at 6 figures. I wouldn't want you to waste your time." Marcus smiled lightly but didn't respond, watching her closely instead. Linda, sensing she hadn't pushed him out yet, pivoted. "If you're serious, maybe I can recommend something more appropriate." Marcus raised a brow, amused. "By all means. I'm curious what you think is appropriate for me." Visibly tense, Linda returned with a printed list, which she thrust toward him. It was a collection of affordable, pre-owned cars, an old Nissan Altima, an aging Jeep, a well-worn Prius. "These might fit your situation better," she said, her voice dripping with forced politeness. Marcus read over the list, then folded it neatly and slid it into his pocket. "Thanks for the effort," he said evenly. Linda softened only slightly, perhaps misinterpreting his civility as acceptance. "I'm just being honest," she said in a tone that barely disguised her impatience. "Elite Autos isn't for everyone." Marcus's expression stayed unreadable. "Honesty's good," he said thoughtfully. "Tell you what. Why don't you call the owner? I'd like a quick word." Linda blinked, clearly thrown. "The owner?" "Yes," Marcus replied simply. "I'd like to meet them." Linda's professional mask cracked a little more. She gave a stiff laugh. "I'm afraid that's not possible. The owner doesn't deal directly with unscheduled walk-ins." Marcus nodded slowly. "All right. I'll call them myself." Pulling out his phone, he casually scrolled through his contacts while Linda watched, her confusion deepening into alarm. "What are you doing?" she asked, voice tightening. "Just calling the owner," Marcus said lightly. "I'm sure they'll want to know how things are going here." He pressed the phone to his ear, speaking calmly. "Hey, it's Marcus. I'm here at the dealership. Everything's fine, just a minor misunderstanding. Could you come by for a few minutes?" Ending the call, Marcus tucked the phone away and looked at Linda with a small, knowing smile. "They'll be here shortly," he said, the words hit like a thunderclap. Around them, staff who had been pretending not to notice now stared openly. Linda's face drained of color as realization crept in. And Marcus stood there, perfectly calm, ready to watch the truth unfold. Linda stared at Marcus, her mouth slightly open. Who did you just call?" Marcus didn't answer right away. Instead, he glanced around the showroom, letting his gaze linger meaningfully on the staff now watching from a distance. "Guess we'll find out," he said, his tone light, almost playful, but the undercurrent was unmistakable. The tension grew thick, almost physical. Linda shifted where she stood, her confident veneer beginning to crack. Minutes passed, each one stretching unbearably. She busied herself with her tablet, tapping aimlessly, her movements stiff and betraying her nerves. Marcus, meanwhile, leaned casually against a Land Rover Defender, looking for all the world like he had nowhere better to be. His calmness only deepened the discomfort hanging in the air. The soft chime of the showroom doors finally broke the silence. A sharply dressed man in a charcoal Tom Ford suit entered, his polished Allen Edmonds shoes clicking against the tile. His face was serious but warm, and his eyes immediately locked onto Marcus. "Mr. Hayes," he said, smiling widely as he strode forward, hand extended. "So good to see you." Marcus returned the handshake firmly, a small, knowing smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "Thanks for coming, James. I appreciate it." A ripple of confusion moved through the room. Linda's tablet nearly slipped from her hands. She stared at Marcus, then James, her expression shifting quickly from confusion to growing alarm. "Wait. Mr. Hayes," she echoed, her voice cracking slightly. James turned toward her, his professional smile cooling. "Linda," he said crisply, "I see you've already met Mr. Hayes." Linda blinked rapidly, clearly scrambling to catch up. I didn't realize," James cut her off smoothly, his tone clipped. "You didn't realize he's the new owner of this dealership." The words landed with the weight of a hammer. Several staff members stiffened where they stood. James turned back to Marcus with an apologetic glance. "I trust this wasn't the welcome you were expecting." Marcus raised a hand, his voice calm but carrying an undeniable edge. "It's all right, James. Linda and I just got off on the wrong foot." His words were polite, but there was no mistaking the gravity behind them. Linda's face had drained of color. She clutched her tablet to her chest like a shield. I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I didn't know." Marcus tilted his head slightly, his voice still measured. "You didn't know what?" he asked. "That someone like me could own a place like this?" Her eyes widened. "I didn't mean," Marcus raised a hand, cutting her off again, gently, but decisively. "It's fine, Linda. Really." He stepped closer, voice dropping just enough that the entire room instinctively leaned in. "But let me ask you, if I weren't the owner, would you have treated me the same? Would I have deserved the same respect if I had walked in here wearing a suit and tie instead of jeans?" Linda opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Her silence was louder than any answer. Marcus nodded once, slowly. He turned to James without looking back at her. "Let's gather everyone in the conference room. I think it's time for a conversation." The staff filed into the glass-walled conference room, their footsteps quiet, their faces uneasy. The room, all sleek lines and expensive furniture, now felt small and heavy with tension. Linda sank into a chair near the back, her shoulders stiff. Marcus stood at the head of the table, relaxed but commanding. James positioned himself near the door, arms folded across his chest. When the murmuring faded, Marcus spoke, his voice steady but firm. "Thank you for coming. For those who don't know, my name is Marcus Hayes. As of last month, I'm the new owner of Elite Autos." There were soft gasps and shifting glances around the room. Linda seemed to fold in on herself, staring fixedly at the polished tabletop. "I came in today dressed casually on purpose," Marcus continued. "I wanted to experience how customers are treated when no one knows who they are. And what I experienced today," he paused, letting the silence underline his point. was disappointing. His words hung heavy. I'm not here to point fingers. But we do need to talk about what that says about this dealership's culture. Linda shifted uncomfortably, but Marcus kept his focus on the room at large. This isn't just about me, he said. It's about every person who walks through those doors, every single one, who deserves respect, regardless of their appearance, background, or anything else. A younger sales associate near the front hesitantly raised his hand. Marcus nodded at him. Go ahead. The young man, Noah Carter, cleared his throat. Mr. Hayes. I think most of us try to treat everyone fairly, but sometimes it's hard not to make assumptions. Marcus nodded, thoughtful. I get it. We all have biases. Admitting it is the first step. But trying isn't enough. We have to actively work against those assumptions. We have to be better than our first impressions. He let that settle before continuing. This dealership is known for excellence. And excellence isn't just about the cars we sell. It's about the experience we deliver, to every customer. Starting today, that's the standard. No exceptions. There were murmurs of agreement now, louder than before. Some staff members shifted straighter in their chairs. Even James gave a small nod of approval. Marcus's gaze landed softly on Linda. Linda, he said, his tone even, I'd like to give you the floor for a moment. All eyes turned to her. Linda swallowed hard, her voice small. I made a mistake, she admitted, cheeks flushed. I misjudged you. And I'm truly sorry. Marcus inclined his head. Thank you for saying that. It matters. He paused just long enough to let the weight of it settle, but accountability is the first step to change. He turned back to the group. We're going to implement new training programs. We're going to challenge ourselves, and each other, to do better. Every customer deserves dignity and respect. If that's a problem for anyone, now's the time to say so. Silence. No one moved. Marcus nodded, satisfied. Good. Change isn't easy. But it's necessary. And we're going to lead by example. He leaned forward slightly, hands braced lightly on the table's edge. I didn't come here to embarrass anyone. I came to see what culture I've inherited, and what culture we're going to build together. He turned to Linda once more, his voice softening. You've earned your position through hard work, I'm sure. But today was a reminder, we're all accountable, no matter how long we've been here. Linda looked up and met his gaze fully. I understand, she said quietly. And I'll do whatever it takes to make this right. Marcus gave a single, respectful nod. I believe in second chances. We'll meet privately to discuss next steps. But for now, let's all move forward. He straightened and addressed the room once more, his voice resonant. We're not just selling cars. We're building trust. Relationships. A reputation. How we treat people matters more than anything we sell. This time, the agreement around the room was clear and genuine. Heads nodded. Faces brightened. Marcus allowed himself a faint smile, the smile of a man who knew the hardest part was behind them, and the real work was just beginning. All right, he said. Let's get to it. As the employees began to file out of the conference room, Marcus noticed Linda lingering near the door. She approached him hesitantly, her hands twisting nervously in front of her. Mr. Hayes, she said, her voice low but steady, I want to thank you for giving me a chance to do better. I won't let you down. Marcus studied her for a moment, weighing her words. His voice, when he spoke, was calm and even. I hope you mean that, Linda. Actions speak louder than words, but I do believe people can change, if they're willing to try. She nodded quickly, sincerity shining in her eyes. I am, she said simply. Marcus gave a small nod of acknowledgement and watched as she turned and walked away, her shoulders a little straighter than before. James stepped up beside him, his expression lighter now. Let's set up a meeting with the staff next week, Marcus said, his gaze still on the showroom beyond the glass walls. I want to make sure everyone knows exactly what's expected moving forward. James grinned, a glint of admiration in his eyes. You've got it, boss. Marcus stepped back into the main floor of the dealership, the soft gleam of polished cars catching the afternoon light. He paused for a moment, taking it all in, the gleaming vehicles, the hum of conversation resuming, the undercurrent of something new beginning to take root. There was still work to be done, plenty of it. But for the first time that day, Marcus felt a quiet surge of optimism. This wasn't just about running a dealership. It was about building something bigger, a place where people were seen for who they truly were, not judged by their appearance. A place where dignity wasn't a luxury, but a standard, and Marcus Hayes was ready to lead the way.